Hey, beautiful thrivers. Today I want to answer that $1,000,000 question that so many of you ask, which is, why am I still attracting narcissists? And the answer I know is going to help liberate you. And it may not be what you think it is. I know it's going to give you a lot of hope. It's going to give you a lot of power, and it can improve every area of your life, not just your interactions with narcissists. Okay, so let's start off by getting very, very clear that everybody meets narcissists. Everybody bumps into them. And the reason is because they're everywhere. Narcissists can exist in your family. They could exist in your friendship group. They might be at your workplace. They might be walking around a supermarket. They literally are everywhere because everything exists, from the highest of the best to the lowest of the most evil. It all exists. So we need to get very, very clear on that, because I promise you, thrivers bump into narcissists. People who are healed up and evolved and graduated, we still can have narcissists come into our experience, especially if we still need to clear something up. Okay, which gets us back to, why are we attracting them? Why are we attracting them? And in a negative sense, it really is, well, why am I still enmeshing with them? Why am I getting duped by them? Why am I being taken in by them? Why am I being hurt by them? Why do I keep having the same boss who's a narcissist? Why do I keep having the same love partner who's a narcissist? Okay. There are really two reasons, and then I'm going to unpack them, but there are really two reasons why you can enmesh with a narcissist. The first one is you're scared of them. You're scared of getting hurt again, duped again, your life devastated again, ripped apart by them. And the second reason is you're scared of being yourself. Now, narcissists can only operate in your life and mine you for sex and resources and stuff and acquisition and contacts and superiority and notoriety and all the stuff that narcissists are after. They can only ever do that if you're scared of them and you're scared of being yourself. So let's unpack this. So why would we be scared of a narcissist? Okay, why would we be scared of a narcissist? Well, because you've been narcissistically abused. Maybe this started in your childhood. Maybe you've had it in other relationships. You've been traumatized. You've been devastated. You've been soul raped, because that's what narcissists do to you. Now, when you haven't yet done the inner recovery work, and I'm such a fan of the quantum work, which is NARP, it's the quantum freedom healing work. When you haven't as yet released your trauma and reprogrammed it with true source, with your higher self, with your reset into your autonomy, your personal power, well then of course you are really scared. You still feel like a devastated child in an adult's body. And we think we're saying no to something, but energetically, emotionally, we're still saying yes. Because what happens is, whatever we haven't evolved yet within our own personal soul and being and life will keep presenting to us to make the unconscious conscious, to show us our inner love code of the people I love abandon me, reject me, abuse me, criticize me, invalidate me, annihilate me. If that is still your inner relationship code, because of the unhealed hurts and the unfinished inner subconscious programming business, then what happens is that's a very, very strong emotional energy, energy in motion. So that's actually the fuel, that's the trajectory that your love program, your relationship code is on. So then what happens is you are attracted to and attractive to the people who match your inner love code. So then what happens if we haven't done the inner work, and I did it too, is we run around getting all the information and all the the research we can on narcissists to look out for a narcissist, and we still don't pick them. And the reason we don't pick them is because narcissists are very, very good at disguising who they are. They don't walk around in a t-shirt, beware, I'm a narcissist about to destroy your life. Rather, they turn up as the really friendly friend who seems so lovely and so interested in what you're interested in. You feel like you've met like a friendship soulmate. Or that person who comes into your life as a relationship prospect and you've never felt so attracted. And then this person is so kind and nice, and they see you and they hold you and they hear you and all of these things. Now, I don't want to tell you this to scare you, okay, and think, oh God, there's no hope for me. This is what's going to happen to me. Because I promise, once you have your graduations, this happens less and less and less. Yes, I can still have a narcissist come into my life, but I promise you, it's very, very rare, and I'm really good at flushing it out very quickly. And I'm going to explain to you why. The reason why is because I had to go through the inner healing, which was, okay, my pick is broken. I keep getting these people in my life. The common denominator is me. That doesn't mean I'm going to blame myself or say that I'm broken and defective. It just means that I've got some inner awakening, some inner standing to do, and some healing to do to get off this trajectory of my old childhood programs onto a new trajectory that is going to be healthy and wonderful for me. But now here's the thing. I knew that to graduate, I had to not be scared of walking under ladders. I had to graduate. And I love the expression, when we're no longer scared to walk under ladders, the ladders will disappear. Because Source and our higher self and our higher evolution say to us, whether you want to call this God, Creator, Life Force, whatever our higher source and our higher self is, says to us, you've got it now. We don't need to keep taking you through those events or those situations for you to come home to yourself, your power, your truth, your autonomy, your source self, your true self. But when we're scared, we really only have two options. We put ourselves out there with the fear of being taken apart again by a narcissist. And I put my hand up, you know, in the early days when I hadn't recovered and I thought I'm lonely and I want to date again. The dating experiences I had were horrific. I was clearly sitting across the table from total sociopaths, if not psychopaths. It was horrifying. So I deleted my profile and I got off dating, and I was just like, oh my God, the world is just full of psychopaths. It was beyond disturbing. But really what was happening was I was getting the evidence of my as yet unhealed wound, and Source and Life and my soul combined was saying, Melanie, this is what you need to clean up. It didn't mean that I'm a psychopath. That's why I'm sitting opposite from a psychopath. It meant I was terrified. I had the beliefs in my body. Other people can destroy me. I'm not safe in my body. I'm not safe in life. Those are huge emotional electronic signals that go out into life force. You have to remember, whatever your big emotional charges are, for good or bad, is exactly what's going to come into your experience. So it's like I'm walking down the mural of life, and everything exists from the highest to good and the most beauty and wholesomeness and beautiful people, because they exist in droves, I promise you, to, you know, these really seedy characters. But in the mural, my energetic vibration could only lock onto the seedy characters because I was still carrying those traumas. So you could say that's why I was attracting these people. Now, what happened when I woke up and I realized all of this as the common denominator, it was time to have a hiatus from relationships, most of them, and fix the relationship with my inner being, fix my programs, do my inner healing, get out those traumas and those terrors and those fears, replace them with source, and come back to a solid setting. And then what that meant was I no longer feared narcissists, because I also realized through my up-leveling and my channeling and my healing, and through diligently doing the NARP healings, I realized that narcissists are actually little powerless people behind a screen pulling the levers, and the levers are only effective if you fear them. They actually have no power of their own. They can only feed off your fear and your trauma programs that are unhealed. That's how they get you in. And I've talked about that in many, many other episodes, trauma bonding and how that happens. So without your fear, then you need to look at the next point, which is no longer fearing being yourself. What does that mean? Being yourself means being authentic. That means speaking up. That means listening to your intuition. And what happens through the NARP journey is that you are doing so much inner work, you start to connect to and trust and develop and grow your intuition, the powerful biofeedback to trust yourself beyond description. And in fact, everything that I'd ever worked at to be able to listen to and know my intuition paled in comparison to what happened when I did Quantum Freedom Healing and the NARP work. It was a game changer on such a huge scale. So what happens then is your intuition has always given you a signal something's not right. It feels off in your body. But our old selves that were scared of them, that if I speak up, you're going to criticize, reject, abandon, or punish me. So I'm going to ignore my intuition. I'm going to go along. A narcissist needed that to hook you in. Okay? But more than that, when we start developing our intuition and know that it is our greatest soul right, honor, and job to listen to it and to explore it and to align with it and respect it, and know that this is how God, Source, our higher self speaks through us, regardless of what anybody else is or isn't doing. Doesn't mean we're always going to be right. Okay, sometimes your intuition triggering could be an inner wound or something, but we have to respect it, honor it, and investigate it, which means speaking up, asking for clarification, asking questions, asking for proof, asking people the questions you need to get the evidence to make an informed decision about whether you're going to hand away your body, your life, the key to your house, access to your finances. It's so important. Narcissists hate that. They run from that. And here's the next step in this is when we develop and we heal and we know that I'm not going to fear the outside, because the outside, even a narcissist, can only operate in my experience if I fear them. So my biggest first job is to get rid of my traumas and my fears, and to up level and bring in life force and bring in source and reset back into I'm happy to be in my body and I'm happy to be in life. Then we do the inner work, and it's all in NARP of I'm going to be happy to be myself, and I'm going to back that, and I'm going to be sovereign and true to myself. And if something feels off, I'm going to ask questions. I'm not just going to hand over my power, my life force, and my trust to things that don't feel right. I stopped doing that. And when we really get into that, there's no longer an attachment to the fear if you criticize, reject, abandon, or punish me. In fact, do it. Try it. Criticize me, reject me, abandon me, punish me, cancel me, smear me, degrade me. belittle me. Do it. Because if you do, you've just showed yourself. And if you show yourself in that way, I don't want anything to do with you, because you're not a match for me. Because good, honest, wholesome people, when we speak up from the heart and we ask and we assess things from a logical, clear point of view of honoring ourselves, good, wholesome people respect you honoring yourself, because that's exactly what they would do. And they have no problem being transparent. They have no problem meeting you. And you know the response. You feel it in your body and you go, yeah, that makes sense. Yeah, I feel really good about that. Or hang on, I need a little more clarification. I'm going to ask you this question now. Okay. And when we get with people, what we do is we honor ourselves and show up in a way. And then what happens is, I promise you, beyond description, that narcissists get flushed out very, very easily, because they don't like being questioned. And they do funky, shady, shonky, dodgy, shifty stuff. They do. With the things they say, the way they behave. Somebody might have said something to you about them and then they've given you a different story. There's lots of inconsistencies and things that don't add up and don't make sense, or a way they'll look at you or they'll talk to you. And what we did in the past was something fell off and we just dismissed it and we went, really what was going on? We had the unhealed child inside who was scared to be ourselves. We were scared of them like they're a parent, and we're scared to be ourselves. And the narcissist knows this. And that's what they play on, and that's how they hook people and how they trauma bond them and how they destroy their lives. So the great news is you don't have to work out who 8 billion other people are in the world. You don't. Because you don't have to be walking around with your radar going, oh my God, is that a narcissist? Is this a narcissist? Is that a narcissist? Is this a good person? And if you really just bless and accept that source in your soul is going to bring in every single person into your experience to allow you to graduate, I want you to really accept this. You want a narcissist to come into your experience. You want it to happen. You really do. I'm going to give you another little story. Okay? I just told you previously about my horrific dating experiences when I was still a traumatized mess. Okay, clearly I wasn't ready to date. But when I had done an inner work and I'd released a lot of trauma and I was no longer fearful of dating, I felt really empowered. I knew my values. I knew my truth. I knew I would take time with somebody, that I wouldn't just fall into a relationship quickly, and I would get to know their character before committing. So here I am on a 3rd date with a particular gentleman, and we were still meeting at public places. No way was he going to come around to my house and pick me up yet. I was still getting to know him. I was dating him over dinners and lunches. Anyway, we're on the 3rd date, and he ticked a lot of boxes. And on the 3rd date, over a few drinks, he started to talk about his work colleagues in a really nasty, snarky way. And I'm like, oh, like real superiority, and I'm great and they're crap, and just, it was obvious. So anyway, I went to the bathroom and I came back and he said, how do you think we're going on our 3rd date? And I said, actually, the way that you talk about your work colleagues, I find it really disturbing. And I think I said, probably about that. Because I knew. All I have to do, that's what was on my spirit, that was what was on my heart, that's what was triggered in my body, that was my truth. And I spoke it. I spoke my truth. And then I let it just hang there. And his face, you know, from all schwammy and lovey, went ashen, black as thunder, and he exploded. He banged the table. How dare you speak to me? He exploded. He was a narcissist, and he exploded. Why did he explode? Because I'm a prop to prop up his false self, which is the same for every narcissist, and I gave him a narcissistic injury, I pricked the bubble of his magnificent persona that he was putting on. I broke the balloon and it popped right in front of him. He had a narcissistic injury and therefore he went to attack. And I just sat there while he screamed and ranted and raved, and he said, well, the date's over. And I said, okay, that's fine. Do you want me to pay half? He's like, no, I'll get the bill. Anyway, I walked out to my car and I was so excited. I was punching the air. I was so happy. Gone were the days where I'm like, oh my God, they're all like that. Everybody's a narcissist. My life is ruined. I'm never going to meet a nice guy. No, that was gone. What I was so excited about was it really allowed me to know I didn't have to have any fear. All I had to do was be honest. All I had to do was show up. I had my soul, my identity, my self-work and self-honor had nothing to do whether or not he loved or approved of me or granted me security or survival. I was already generating that myself. I wasn't looking for a partner to give me myself. I was looking for somebody to share my life with. And me being honest and speaking up flushed him out. Now, I don't want to be with somebody who has a character of putting their work colleagues down like some smart-ass superior person. That's not my pick of a partner. No, it's definitely not. The partner I'm with now would never speak about people like that. He's too much of a good guy. So but I want you to know, this was not an act of lack that I did. This was an act of plenty. There's plenty more from where that comes from. And this is a serious signal that I'm sending out to the universe that I am going to be honest. I'm going to honor my values and my truth. And if you're not on board with it, well, you're not for me. And, the garbage took itself out very quickly, very fast, which was brilliant. And then I just continued dating next, did not miss a beat, and the quality of men got better and better and better. So this is how you can apply this to every single level of your life. So I still attracted a narcissist, but it was to show myself and source in the universe where I was at. I really hope this is making sense to you because I want this to be inspiring for you. And I really want you to check in with yourself because this is everything. Am I still scared of them? And don't try and pretend you're not. If you've got trauma in your body, you've got trauma in your body. It's running 95% of your being, 40 billion bits per second of all of your wiring, your chemical processes, your thoughts, your feelings, your actions, who and what you're attracted to, who and what's attractive to you. You think your big no means no. It's actually a yes. And it's so hard to beat logically. Our logical brain is 5% of the game. It's 40 bits per second. It's a tiny, tiny, tiny little bandwidth. You need to get the shift at a much deeper inner subconscious somatic level, and that's actually what NARP gives you, so that when you're going through the modules, you get to a point where you literally can't access the fear anymore. You don't feel it, and it's replaced with wholeness, wholesomeness, and personal power and truth. And then you keep developing on to shed the fears of crap that if I show up as myself, I'm going to get criticized, rejected, abandoned, or punished, so that you're free to be yourself. Here's the thing. A narcissist is a false self. They cannot operate in the energy of a true self. Think of a vampire when you put a bright light on it. Shrieks and scurries away into the darkness, and it nearly destroys them. They cannot be around you if you are authentic and working on being unwounded and taking responsibility to show up as yourself. You don't have to be perfectly there, but you have to be orientated and dedicated to be on that path and on that track. And that is your defense. And how gorgeous it is to be able to be out in life as yourself, not giving a crap about anybody else or whether or not you're going to fear them. Can you imagine the freedom of that? That's the life I live. That's the life thrivers live. That's my mission, to grant you the ability to grant that to yourself. I really hope this has answered the question, why am I still attracting narcissists? You want to attract them so that you can graduate from them and never fear them being around you ever again. Friendship, workplace, boss, all of it. All of it. I hope this helps. All right, everybody, lots of love, and I'm looking forward to hearing, whether this touched your soul and your spirit and has given you hope. All right, keep smiling, keep healing, and keep thriving, because there's nothing else to do. Lots of love. Bye-bye.